Hello and welcome back to the channel. You join me today where we're going to be fitting the Chigee AIO-6 LTE to the R1300 GS. Make yourself comfortable, grab a brew and sit back and relax and watch the video where we'll show you how to fit it, or my way of fitting it, to the R1300 GS. We're then going to take the bike out on a road test where I can show you some of the features, including the blind spot protection and how the cameras are working and the infotainment system in general. If you enjoy the video, please give it a like and please consider subscribing. It doesn't cost anything and you can leave at any time. I'd just like to say a big thank you to Chigee as well for having me as an affiliate member and supplying me with all this wonderful gear that they keep sending me. Absolutely brilliant. Thanks a lot, Chigee. Really appreciated. Let me know what you think to the installation. Comments down below. And don't forget guys, when the AIO6 is available to order, although it is available at the moment for pre-order, you can use the exclusive NJW Moto 10% discount code on all your products you buy from Chigee. Without further ado, we'll get the GS stripped down and we'll start fitting the AIO6 60 frame cameras to the R1300 GS. First things first, we're going to strip the GS down to fit the Chigee 60 frames per second cameras on it. Now, I've still got my Vantru F1 dashcam system fitted to the GS. On the Vantru there's quite a lot of cables, so I may have to take the tank off to get to those cables because they're coiled up underneath the tank. You might not have to do that, but you'll probably have to remove most of the panels that I remove. It's an easy job, doesn't take long, just take your time. Most of the screws are the same. That's one good thing that BMW did with the new GS, is they standardised most of the body panel screws, unlike the 1250 that had them in various lengths, sizes, shouldered heads. Anyway, let's get the GS stripped down and get it ready to take the new 60 frames per second Chigee cameras. So the first thing we'll start off with is the screen. I'm going to run the next bit of video through a time lapse while I'm stripping down the 1300 GS. So if you have any questions about the strip down, that you need some detail, please put your questions down below in the comments. Feel free to pause at any point if there's anything you need to watch. So anybody that's fitting the Chigee on a GS1300 and you're not using the Hex EasyCan, which is that unit there, and you're looking for a switched live, you need the red and blue cable under the tank bracket. That is a switched live ignition feed. There's plenty of products on the market that can tap a power source out of that cable. Make sure you take it from the feed inside of the fuse so that the fuse still carries the load, and you'll be good to go. That is a switched live. Hope that helps. So, there you go. That's the bulk of the bodywork stripped off the R1300 GS. That job takes about 20 minutes at the most. Real easy job. And if you look there, you can see that's the surplus cable that I had left from the Vantro F1, which I had to find a hiding place for. The only place I could find it was under the tank. So no big dramas, tank's not hard to get off. It's a pretty simple job, to be perfectly honest. So next up is the routing for the rear camera. Yep, and I think that's going to entail having to take off the grab rail again. Lovely. So here's the issue on the GS when you have the camera mounted under here. It is a convenient place to mount it, but when you want to route your cable through, it's very difficult to get it to this point because it has to come through such a tiny hole. So to get that plug through, unfortunately, you have to drop the grab rail down, which is less than ideal, but hey ho.
And I know what you're all thinking, why go to all that trouble sitting down and taking the rack off just to feed the cable through? Well, I'm sorry, but if it's right, it's right, and if it's wrong, it's wrong. And it's not my style to just lash cables in.
I have seen another video where somebody's fitted this cable and simply trapped it under the seat, between the seat lock. Certainly not something I could live with. That's the GS stripped down, ready to take the Chigee cameras. So the unit is mounted, as we know, in the Garmin sat-nav mount. The camera, I have simply stuck that to the back of the Garmin mount using the supplied double-sided tape. I prefer to have my camera behind the windshield. Keeps the rain off it, the bugs off it, keeps it clean. Yes, I do use a tinted windscreen, and I've noticed no degradation on the camera.
So the following clip is from my previous dashcam system, and this video was taken at dusk, about 5 minutes to 9 at night. And although the picture still looks quite bright, I can assure you it was getting fairly dark at this point. And this footage was taken through a dark tinted screen.
And it certainly helps when you're riding into bright sunlight. So my cable swoops down to the bottom with the USB-C connector at the bottom. The connector for that then runs up the side and exits at the opposite side to where the OE connectors do for the BMW nav cradle. They then run down neatly, following the cable route into the OE position, and we then come round the side. So from the main harness, that loops round and connects neatly into the front camera, and this is a loop that I've put in here just to get rid of some excess cable. What I'll do with that, I'll just tuck that neatly into the OE position, into the back, into the containment for what comes on the BMW, and there you go. That's the camera wiring up to this point. So I hope that is helpful. I hope that makes sense. So the next thing we'll move on to, we'll fit the rear camera and plug the power in and connect that to the battery. I'm going to put this all back together now. I'll just get the radar dome. So what I've done is I've put another cable route in the other side of the radar dome. This should allow the USB-C connector cable and camera cable to come up the other side. That's my idea, that's my method. So I'm going to fit the radar dome now. Don't forget, these cables need to be left loose. You have to leave these loose. This allows, when you undo your nav bracket, allows the unit to go out, to fold out the way to give you the room to put your radar dome in. So there you go. That's the first bit of the wiring and the first bit of the installation for the AIO6. I hope you like my idea of keeping the USB cable underneath and out the way. I've seen a lot of installations with it just flopping around at the top of the clocks. It's not good enough for me. I like it nice and neat, and I think that is a really neat job. So, okay guys, let's move on. We'll get the radar dome installed and I'll show you what that's like once it's on. So, there you go guys. That's the radar dome fitted. Real easy job. And as you can see, it's got that new little outlet there to allow the USB-C cable to come out, and the camera cable comes out in the existing hole that comes from factory. So that's all fastened on now, all neat and tidy. I've just put a little cable support around that area there. Hopefully that'll do the job. So what I'm going to do now, I'm just going to set the camera up and I'm going to show you how easy it is to take the Chigee off the Garmin mount and disconnect this USB-C plug working from the other side of the bike. So all you need to do to remove the unit is simply go underneath, get your USB-C plug, pull that out, unlock your unit, release it. That's it. That's your unit off. Now, I think that's a lot neater than having that cable running over the top. So let me know what you think, guys. Let me know if you think that's a better idea for routing this cable. Personally, I like that way. I'm an engineer and I like to see cables routed correctly. So to put it back on, we'd clip it back in, we'd set the lock, we'd then lock it in, make sure it's secure. Then it's just a case of going underneath and plugging in the USB-C connector. Make sure it's nice and tight so the waterproof seal's working. And that's it. Done. All neat and tidy. Everything in place. Okay, so when you fit in the rear camera, this plug here has to go through this part of the luggage rack. And in order to do that, you do have to unbolt it and pull it back very slightly. You can then feed this cable over the top and through to that area. Now you've got to unbolt it to be able to get the cable through the hole with the big plug on the end of it, because there isn't a joint on this nearer to the camera. So that's just a little tip for you. when you come to fit your rear camera. Right, now we've got that in, I'll bolt the luggage rack back up and I'll bolt up the pannier holders. So there you go, that's the rear camera fitted. Just need to torque up the grab rail bolts now, 19 Newton meters. And then as you can see, if you look up there where I'm pointing the screwdriver, previously when I had my Vantrue F1 cameras on, I made a nice little slot up there for the wire to disappear into. Now, this is my method of doing it. You can mount it however you wish, but I like to keep things neat. And as you can see, there's no cables on display, there's nothing hanging around, it's all nice and tidy. So it's up to you how you do it. This is the way I've done it, and it's the way I did it previously. So now we'll route the rear camera cable through the subframe and up to the front of the bike. Right, so that's all the rear part of the wiring in. The rear camera cable running down the side, down here, underneath the cross brace, and then looping round over the top and down. I have fitted some nylon sheathing around the cabling just to protect it, stop it getting damaged. I've also crimped on a plug for my Hex EasyCan for the ignition live, that's the yellow cable, and the red positive and the black negative straight to the battery. You can see there I've routed the cables down. I'll just put a bit of light on that for you. So you can see I've routed the cables down the back of the frame in the OE position, plenty of clearance down there, and then it follows the side of the frame through to the left hand side of the bike, and we'll go around and we'll have a look where it exits. And that's where the cable exits, where it comes out from the frame. I will secure this at the top there, probably to that radiator bracket with a tie wrap, and then just simply run it up the back and bring it out into this area here, where we'll make the final connections to the two plugs that are left for the rear camera and the power socket. So it comes down the back of the airbox. There's no restrictions anywhere, it's not tight, it's all sort of in a neatly contained. This is the braided cables coming from the rear. I've then looped them round, lost a little bit of the power lead on there, which is fine, and then gone back up to there, tie wrapping with the OE mountings, and then the plugs are just there behind the behind this plug here, this BMW plug. And I think you'll agree that's all really nice and neat, that absolutely spot on. I'm well pleased with this installation, very, very neat. It's one of the downsides of being an engineer, unfortunately. You can't let yourself do a shit job. You have to, it's got to be right or it's not good enough. So there you go. That's the cameras now wired with the power supply for the AIO6 on the 1300 GS. Time to build the bike back up. So we're actually en route today to Motorrad at Rotherham to have the service done on the R1300 GS. So we'll get that service done and out the way. I have had to wait a few weeks to get in, but it seems to be the case in most places at the moment. And there you go, that's the rear camera, and as you can see What a great picture. Most people have been asking whether you can actually use it while you're riding as a rear view mirror. And in answer to that question, yes you can. And I think your field of vision is probably better on that than it is out of your mirrors. And you've still got your front camera display in the top corner. And then looking at the picture quality, them 60 frames per second camera are really doing their job. Just look how crisp that picture is. Absolutely superb.
Now you will notice on the Chigee screen there's quite a lot of reflection on the gloss screen. This is not as bad as it looks in real life, and most of this is being captured by the camera, but it has now been cured by fitting the wonderful matte screen protector that Chigee provide, the glass screen protector, which does stop a lot of the glare.
So let's go out of here now and go back to CarPlay. There we go, back into CarPlay. And what can I say about the functionality on the CarPlay? Well, it's as good as any other with the Whizzy wheel. It's just the same old scenario. Highlight what you want and make the selection. Quality with the Whiz wheel, absolutely perfect, seamless. It's never failed not to work. Just go to Waze, hot Waze on there, as you can see, working perfect. Got the phone inside the tank pocket there, on charge on the MagSafe charger, doing its job. You can see what that's up to. Yeah, 98% and charging. Absolutely perfect. So we're maintaining the battery whilst using CarPlay, and we've got CarPlay on that fabulous 6-inch 2000 god knows how many, I think 2300 nits of brightness, and you can certainly see that. It's a really bright day today, and that screen is absolutely pin sharp. It's absolutely perfect. Without a doubt, it's picking up everything it needs to. The BMW blind spot protection and the Chigee, both working in unison. Absolutely fantastic. There we go. Gives you a camera shot and gives you a caution warning.
So I'm going to quickly run you through how to enter into the gallery where your recordings are on the Chigee. The first thing you're going to do is obviously turn your machine on, go to the main menu, go to settings, and then go to download, which will bring you to this page here. The blue icon there is telling you that you've got a Bluetooth connection to your mobile phone. We'll then go into the Chigee app. So we're now in the Chigee app. We can see we've got a connection. So what we're going to do then is we're going to go to the record tab, the one at the bottom there, the recording tab. When we get into there, we're going to click connect. It will then come up with your tethered device. Click on that and it will say connecting. We'll then tell it to join.
And there you go. You've got a live view in front of you. You've got the car device album, which you can go into. And this is all the recordings that you've got previously recorded on your Chigee device. So let's just say I wanted to save 2 of these videos. We'll hit the tick icon in the top corner there, and we'll highlight that one, and we'll highlight that one. We can then click the download button at the bottom, which will then, as you can see, that is downloading those videos into your phone memory. It's as simple as that, and as easy as that. Hope that makes sense. If you have any questions, put your questions down below. All your comments are most appreciated. And there you go. That's the one video down, and it's just downloading the other one as we speak. They will then appear in your phone photo video gallery. If you're using an iOS device, that is. I can't speak really for Android, as I don't use Android. I tend to use iOS. So we'll just let this video download. We can then go out of this app and go to Photos. And there you go at the bottom. There is the 2 videos.
Okay, so let's take a look at some raw footage from the Chigee cameras. This is on a motorway at 50 miles an hour, and zap. Yes, you can make out that reg plate, no problem. And I think you'll agree, the picture quality from that for a 1080p camera is very, very good. It's very smooth, obviously, because of the 60 frames per second. So overall, I think the Chigee cameras are absolutely superb. Really good definition, really smooth. And you can see my camera fitted behind the windshield is doing its job, keeping the bugs off the lens. And here's some footage from the rear camera. But let me know what you think. Please put your comments down below. Let me know what you think to these cameras. I think they're absolutely fantastic. And not forgetting, if you keep your eye on the top of the screen, you can see all your data. Gear position, your RPM, your speed, your lead angle, even when you're using your indicators or your brakes. Absolutely fantastic. So, welcome back to the NJW Moto scoreboard. Let's run the new Chigee AIO6 through the NJW Moto scoreboard. So, first off, build quality. Well, you can't give it any less than a solid 10. TFT brightness, again, a solid 10. TFT picture quality, again a solid 10. TFT response, yep, it's certainly up there, and I'm going to give that a 9. Ease of use, the software is absolutely spot on. There's a few areas where it could get better, so I'm going to give that a 9 out of 10. BMW integration, you can't argue that it is the best. 10 out of 10. Portability, absolutely. Totally portable. 10 out of 10. Use with a gloved hand, maybe not as good as it could be. So I'm going to give that a 9 out of 10. And screen size. There is bigger, but bigger is not always better when you've got the quality that this screen is. It is absolutely spot on, and I think the 6-inch screen is definitely a good sweet spot in this type of equipment, so I'm going to give that a 10 out of 10 again. Price point. This is subjective. It is a lot of money. It's not the cheapest on the market. It is a fair old price. But you are getting the best there is. So I'm going to give that an 8 out of 10. Which brings us to a total value and a total score of 95 out of 100 for the new AIO6. Let me know what you think down below.
So, in summary, we've seen the AIO6 in action out on the road. Personally, I'm very impressed with it. Would I spend my own money on it? Yes, I would, definitely. It's got to be, without doubt, the most polished motorcycle CarPlay system on the market. It's absolutely superb. The screen, as I keep saying, is beautiful. The functionality is great. And now the software is so intuitive. It's absolutely brilliant. So as previously mentioned, there are cheaper alternatives out there on the market which are perfectly adequate and fit for purpose. But it all depends whether you want that extra functionality. Chigee AIO6 gives you a combination of everything you need in a CarPlay unit. It's a security device, it's a navigation device, it's a multimedia device, and it also gives you the telematic data from your bike. You know, a lot of them do feed that data back, a lot of them do have cameras, but do they have the versatility of the AIO6? Personally, I'm impressed with it, and it certainly gets the NJW Moto seal of approval. So, thanks for watching, thanks for dropping in, and thanks for the likes and thanks for the subscribes. And we'll see you in the next one. Ride safe. Bye for now.